Okay, so we're going to get into the last unit that is a part of the second 9 weeks before your second CBA and before Christmas break. Yay. So what we're going to get into is, first of all, your essential TEKS, 7C, 7A, and 7F. Now, World War II might be like, man, World War II is kind of loaded. There's a lot that we got to get to. And some of these are like pretty crazy TEKS. So the point to essential TEKS is really for us to narrow down the major themes going on in the unit, and then to piece together like a puzzle the other TEKS that go within those themes. So the themes here for World War II are why war? So why is there a world war going on anyways? And what fits into everything going on in the war as far as the rest of the world is concerned? And then we have U.S. involvement. So why is the U.S. now involved? And what are the effects of the United States being involved as far as the war itself is concerned? And then we have the home front, okay? And these are going to be your three major themes going on, but there's different things within those themes, right? So for 7C, this TEK is analyze major issues of World War II, including the Holocaust, the internment of Japanese Americans as a result of Executive Order 9066, and the development of atomic weapons. Okay, so we're analyzing some major issues going on. These three are always tested. That's why I went ahead and made it the TEK. But it's really the concept of the kind of the things going on internationally. Don't assume that your students know what the Holocaust is, because they did not make it to that unit last year. So some of them are coming in with no knowledge of what the Holocaust is. So we can spend a little bit of time kind of explaining that and talking through it, because sometimes essential TEKS are things that you want your students to leave knowing. Whether or not it's tested, you want your kids knowing it. And I think the Holocaust is one of those things. Now, 7D goes in with this section right here, and this is analyze major military events of World War II, including fighting the war on multiple fronts. Also use the word theater. The Bataan Death March, the U.S. military advancement through the Pacific Islands, that's your island hopping. The Battle of Midway, the invasion of Normandy, which is D-Day, and the liberation of concentration camps. Now, one of the things I love to do, I always had projects going along with every unit, but one of the things I loved when we got to World War II is there are so many good movies that are very historically accurate. So, I mean, hey, you want extra credit on your test? Watch this movie and write me a paper over it. Kids are usually up for movies. I also tell kids, hey, play your video games, because they are so much like the actual thing. They're very, very accurate. So I had one kid who he was like, I'm just going to play my my World War II game. I don't know what he was playing, but he passed his test and he slept through most of that unit. But they are very accurate. So let's see, what else do we have? 7B, which is evaluate the domestic and international leadership of Franklin D. Roosevelt and Harry Truman during World War II, including the U.S. relationship with its allies. I always like to tell people that Roosevelt entered us into the war, but Truman finished it with regard to that, atomic weapon. So definitely this is just over this section though for 7B, this is over the other leaders, so the dictators and everything of what's going on, who's mainly involved. And then 7B, once we get into the U.S. involvement, that's when we're really going to focus on Roosevelt and Truman. Okay, but that's the end of that kind of international side of things, okay? But now we're going to get into the United States side of things, and this is where we're going to spend most of our time with World War II. So 7A is identify reasons for U.S. involvement in World War II, including the aggression of Italian, German, and Japanese dictatorships, especially the attack on Pearl Harbor. So the aggression of the dictatorships is more so this side of things with the what's going on internationally as far as the world is concerned. But what does this do to the United States? So if we have Italian, German, and Japanese dictatorships, and that's who we're going to end up being fighting against, then how are we going to view those people who are immigrants from those areas in the United States? We'll be very distrustful of them. And the same thing for Pearl Harbor. It's even worse for people who are Asian immigrants. And we'll see that when we're talking about Executive Order 9066, which that section falls into the what's going on with regard to the United States and the home front and stuff like that. Well, we are, throwing Japanese Americans into camps. And one of the things that you have to focus on when you talk about that is, why don't we constitutionally have the right to do that? And of course, it falls back to the 14th Amendment. These are citizens of the United States. They get all of the rights that are provided to anybody who's a citizen, which in this case is their due process. So there's actually a question over this, and it's going to cover what two amendments are being violated by the Executive Order 9066, and it is going to be definitely be the 4th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. And let's see. Sorry, I'm writing something down so I can make sure I remember, because I always forget this section, and it has become a pretty hot topic button in the last couple of years as far as the test is concerned. Okay, so with 7A in mind, what else do we get into with it? We get into 7B, which I talked about. We get into 7E, which is going to be the military contributions of leaders during World War II, including Dwight Eisenhower, Douglas MacArthur, and Chester Nimitz. we will get into 7G, which is the now the Tuskegee Airmen, Flying Tigers, and Navajo Code is what you're getting into here. The other section of 7G will be gotten into in 7F. So we're really going to be talking about who the Tuskegee Airmen are, who are the Flying Tigers, and who are the Navajo Code talkers. 23B, which is Army First Lieutenant Vernon J. Baker. He is our Congressional Medal of Honor. Remember, I told you that we have 3 Congressional Medal of Honor winners. We have Alvin York from World War I. We have Vernon Baker from World War II. And then we have Roy Benavides from Vietnam, which we'll get into later. 26B, technological innovations in agriculture. We're going to see penicillin become a major thing, able to save people when they get shot and stuff like that. That's really your major technological advancement. We have 15D, describe the economic effects of international military conflicts on the United States. So how's this going to affect us economically? Same way that it affected us during World War I. We're going to have rationing. We're going to have ration books, and we're going to want people to buy war bonds and stuff like that. Okay, so 18B, explain constitutional issues raised by federal government policy changes during times of significant events, including World War II. So the constitutional issues we got raised here, well, for one, we have the draft, okay? We still have the Espionage and Sedition Act in play, and we also have a segregated military who are definitely not treated the same, especially even, I mean, they're not even allowed to march here in the United States. So when they do march in France. So they're not praised here for their works. It is definitely different. These are some serious constitutional issues, which is going to lead us into the desegregation of the military after World War II. So that is definitely something to begin talking about because we're going to be getting into it later. Let's see. We are going to have 22A, identify the and analyze methods of expanding the right to participate in the democracy process. So that's really going to be that what I'm talking about here, which is protesting. But mainly with World War II, what we're really going to see is conscientious objectors rise up, and they are not going to be treated well, even though they're very within their right as far as the exercise clause for exercising your religious beliefs of not being involved in the war. So they are within their right to do so, but they are not treated well. 25C, let's see, we already talked about that. We do get into, let's see. Oh, no, that's not it. 26A. Nope. Okay. Now, 7F. Let's see. Oh, I didn't write it down. That's why I was confused. 24A. 24A falls into this because it is going to be bringing about music during World War II. And there's another thing I didn't mention. Country music comes out during the Great Depression, by the way. But 24A is going to be bringing out, there's a lot of music that goes on during World War II. I love World War II. I like period music, so Civil War music, World War I, World War II music. It's all very interesting. This is going to bring it up. And World War I and II music is really very much aligned with propaganda. So it's going to help fuel that need to be patriotic, as well as the fear of being labeled a spy from whatever country you originated from. So patriotism is going to be really, really big at this point. Okay, let's see. 7F is going to be explain issues affecting the home front, including volunteerism, purchase of war bonds. We kind of talk about that. Victory gardens is a big thing. So these are economic ways of helping to support the war by finding ways to save and ration and plant your own food and that kind of thing. 17A, or no, this is 7A, isn't it? Yeah, this is a call back to the attack on Pearl Harbor. Let's see. Oh, and we also have the Great Depression ends because of World War II starting, by the way. Mobilization, rationing, increased opportunity for women to join the workforce. The difference between World War I and World War II is women are going to stay in the workforce after this. 7G is that patriotism I spoke about. After World War II is over, what we're going to see is desegregation of the military. We're also going to see the highway system get built. President Eisenhower is really going to be focused on building the highway system. This is really kind of the end of World War II. You can start to talk about a little bit about the 50s that are coming into play. Like after World War II, hey, guess what we also have? We have the GI Bill, which is going to provide people with education for trade or college. It's also going to provide them with money to buy homes. And we'll see a surge in suburbs. We're going to see a surge. This pin's not working. We're going to see a surge in suburbs. And that's technically kind of an innovation. So suburbs are going to soar. And they soar really because we've got a bunch of people coming home who have these GI Bills and they're able to go to college and get jobs and get loans and get home loans and all of these things. And so the suburbs are going to soar. GI Bill is going to happen. We'll have the highway system getting built. A lot of infrastructure is going in. We're out of the Great Depression. America is going to have a period of prosperity. It's why it's called the golden years for America. It's the 1950s. It is right before the 1960s and that last generation and everything going crazy with Vietnam War. Now, we do exit World War II and we immediately go into the Cold War because of the atomic bomb, and we immediately go in, and the Truman Doctrine and all, and the Marshall Plan, but we also go into the Korean War, which during this period of prosperity, we do have wars going on and stuff like that, but the American people are going to be experiencing prosperity and a little bit more security, is where we have the baby boom. All the people come home from war and they make tons of babies, and we have the baby boom. And so that's kind of that cutoff here. You can choose to go into a little bit of that early 1950s, early Cold War time frame, or you can hold off. I always tried to get a little bit of foreshadowing into the next unit before I would review and before we would move on. So up to you. We shall see where we're at. I'm recording this before your first test, so we'll see what works best for you, and we can get together and talk about it. So anyways, yay, finally got through the second 9 weeks video, and then hopefully I will get your third and fourth up soon.